Welcome to Location Relocation, the channel where we unpack the data, decisions, and destinations shaping where Americans live today. If you're thinking about moving or just curious about migration trends, you're in the right place. Today, we're diving into a big one, the top 5 U.S. cities people are leaving in 2025, and why. Some of these may not surprise you, but others might just challenge the narrative. So let's jump in, and make sure to stick around for a deeper dive on what all this means if you're considering a move yourself. Coming in at number 1, New York City. The Big Apple continues to see residents leave at a high rate, a trend that accelerated during the pandemic and hasn't let up. From 2020 to 2024, NYC lost over 500,000 residents, a staggering figure. Many of those leading cite the high cost of living, with rent prices in Manhattan averaging over $4,200 per month for a one-bedroom in early 2025. For comparison, that's more than triple the national average. Then there are state and city taxes, some of the highest in the country. When you combine that with rising food, transportation, and utility costs, it's no wonder residents, especially retirees and remote workers, are eyeing more affordable alternatives. Top destinations? Florida and Texas, with cities like Miami, Orlando, and Austin seeing a direct influx from New York zip code. And while New York still offers cultural and career advantages, for many, the math just doesn't work anymore. Number 2, San Francisco. Once the gold rush of tech opportunity, SF is now grappling with an exodus that's reshaping the Bay Area. The city has lost over 85,000 residents since 2020. And it's not just individuals, small businesses and even large firms are relocating headquarters to places like Phoenix, Austin, and Salt Lake City. Why the shift? Housing costs are a major driver. In early 2025, the median home price in San Francisco sits at over $1.4 million. Even renting a modest apartment can cost upwards of $3,700 a month. Add to that an increase in property crime, visible homelessness, and a sense that local government hasn't adequately addressed quality of life issues, and it's easy to see why many longtime residents feel the city is no longer sustainable. That said, San Francisco's innovation culture still makes it attractive to some, but increasingly, people are choosing to live outside the city and commute or work remotely to maintain access without the price tag. Next up, Los Angeles. LA continues to lose residents, despite its global allure. Since 2020, LA County has seen a net loss of more than 300,000 people. Among the top reasons cited, traffic congestion, affordability, and a lack of housing diversity. You've probably heard the stories: 90-minute commutes, rent-to-income ratios above 50%, and a growing dissatisfaction with urban sprawl. Even though California raised its minimum wage to $18 in 2025, many workers still can't afford to live near where they work. There's also a growing sense among Gen Z and millennials that LA's opportunities come with diminishing returns. More people are heading to cities like Denver, Las Vegas, and Raleigh, seeking creative industries with lower costs of living and better quality of life. And while LA isn't dead by any stretch, it's no longer the automatic dream city for many Americans. Number 4 might surprise some, Philadelphia. While Philly hasn't made as many headlines, the city has experienced a net loss of around 30,000 people between 2020 and 2024, according to the U.S. Census Bureau. Residents point to a rising crime rate, especially in property crime and carjackings, as one reason. Others cite aging infrastructure, public school challenges, and a lack of middle-class housing options. It's not all doom and gloom. Philly still offers cultural value and affordability compared to New York or DC, but many residents are simply relocating to the suburbs or neighboring states like Delaware and Maryland, where taxes are lower and schools more highly rated. There's also been a noted uptick in migration to southern cities like Charlotte and Atlanta, as people seek similar East Coast access without the urban stressor. Rounding out our list, Chicago. The Windy City has long battled an uneven reputation, iconic skyline, world-class food, strong job sectors, but also persistent crime concerns and economic uncertainty. Between 2020 and 2025, Chicago has lost approximately 100,000 residents. While some of this is offset by immigration and college student influxes, the net domestic outmigration remains high. Property taxes in Illinois are among the highest in the country, and many residents report frustration with city services and governance. People are relocating from Chicago to nearby suburbs or out of state entirely, with popular destinations including Indianapolis, Nashville, and Tampa. The underlying theme? Residents want safety, affordability, and opportunity, and more than ever, they're willing to move to get. Let's not forget a couple of honorable mentions. cities that didn't crack the top 5 but are seeing rising out-migration as well. First, Seattle. Known for its tech economy and lush landscapes, Seattle is now experiencing growing discontent over housing costs and what some residents call tax fatigue. A new state capital gains tax implemented in 2023 and rising property costs are leading many to relocate to nearby Idaho or Montana. And Portland, once a magnet for creative professionals and environmental advocates, Portland has seen population decline amid ongoing public safety concerns and an uncertain economic outlook. The cost of living is still lower than California, but many are now skipping Oregon altogether and heading directly to Utah or Arizona. Now, let's bring this into real terms. Take Lisa, a graphic designer who's lived in Brooklyn for 8 years. She worked in an agency downtown, loved the energy, and didn't mind the 45-minute train ride. But once her role went remote in 2023, everything changed. In 2024, she visited friends in Raleigh, North Carolina. By early 2025, she'd sold her apartment share, found a remote-friendly co-working space in Raleigh, and cut her rent by half. Her story isn't unique. It's part of a growing pattern. So what do all these stories and stats tell us? The truth is, we're seeing a new chapter in American relocation, one that's not about chasing jobs, but about choosing lifestyle. In the past, people moved because they had to. Now, they move because they can. We're seeing more people prioritize cost of living, safety, climate, and proximity to nature or family over job proximity and status symbols. And we're seeing cities that can't adapt lose ground. Let's zoom out for a second. Nationwide, the U.S. has entered what demographers are calling the second migration boom. Between 2020 and 2025, more than 27 million Americans moved to a different county, and more than 9 million moved out of their state entirely. That's not just churn. That's seismic relocation, often reshaping local economies, school districts, and even elections. And while it's tempting to assume it's only the wealthy making these moves, the data tells a more nuanced story. According to a 2024 Pew study, the largest demographic of movers are people between ages 28 and 44, working professionals who are either newly remote or looking for a better cost of living balance. Families with children under 12 also represent a large chunk, especially in moves from urban centers to suburban or rural communities. Meanwhile, a record number of retirees, especially in places like New Jersey, Michigan, and Illinois, are cashing out of paid-off homes and heading to tax-advantaged states like Tennessee, Texas, and Nevada. So who's not moving? That tends to be folks in lower-wage, location-dependent jobs, which means this migration wave may also be widening the gap between who can choose where to live and who can't. And if you're thinking about moving yourself, here's a quick relocation checklist based on what viewers like you tell us matters most. Can you afford housing costs? Not just now, but with local property tax increases over time? What's the average commute like? Even in remote roles, access to services and traffic still matters. How strong are the local schools, healthcare, and broadband access, especially if you're relocating with family? Does the community offer the lifestyle you're actually looking for? Outdoor space, art, diversity, or quiet? And finally, will this move help you meet your personal goals, whether that's saving more money, reducing stress, or just starting fresh? Every move is a trade-off, but having the data and hearing real experiences helps tip the scales in your favor. And if this kind of insight helps you feel more confident in your decisions, we'd love your support. Like, subscribe, and share this video with a friend who's been eyeing a move but hasn't pulled the trigger. In fact, if you comment below with your dream move, whether that's across town or across the country, we'll pick one response to feature in next week's video. Next up, we're breaking down the top 5 gainer cities, where people are moving to in 2025, and why those cities are thriving. You might be surprised to find some affordable, high quality of life places you've never considered. Until then, this is Location Relocation, signing off. Travel smart, relocate wisely.